If this episode makes you think, please let us know in the comments and support us by subscribing and leaving a review. Thank you. Today we are exploring Chatbot student performance, where women receiving course-specific chatbot messages in an undergraduate microeconomics course earned final grades 7 percentage points higher than women in the control group. That finding comes from Let's Chat, leveraging chatbot outreach for improved course performance, a July 2026 working paper from the National Bureau of Economic Research, or NBER. The authors are Catherine E. Meyer, Lindsay C. Page, Catherine Matter, Eric Smith, Brendan Tyler Walsh, Candice L. Fifield, Michelle Tyson, Amy E. Arumyankale, Michael Evans, Shelby Frost, and I. Yoon Young. The researchers worked with Georgia State University, the National Institute for Student Success, and the technology company Mainstay. They studied 2,483 students across large, online, asynchronous American government and microeconomics courses. Half were randomly assigned to receive course-specific chatbot messages, and half continued with the usual course communication. The headline is encouraging. Students assigned to the chatbot were 4 percentage points more likely to earn an A or B. That's a rise from 61% in the control group to around 65% in the treatment group. But what caught my attention wasn't simply the claim that AI improved grades. It was what this particular AI actually did. This wasn't a generative chatbot writing explanations, producing essays, or pretending to be a tutor. It used a controlled knowledge base to send 2 or 3 personalized text messages each week. Students received reminders about deadlines, alerts about missing work, encouragement, and links to tutoring. If the system couldn't confidently answer a question, it passed that question to a human teaching assistant. That distinction matters. The chatbot didn't make the academic decisions. It helped students act on decisions they already needed to make. We often discuss AI in higher ed as though its main value lies in generating content. This paper points towards a less glamorous, but possibly more useful role, helping students manage the invisible administration inside a course, finding the deadline, noticing a missed task, knowing where tutoring happens, feeling able to ask a basic question at 11 o'clock at night without worrying that you're wasting someone's time. That's a form of chatbot student engagement based on reducing friction rather than increasing entertainment. And schools are full of similar friction. Think about a hypothetical Year 8 geography lesson. A student may understand coastal erosion perfectly well, yet still fail to submit the fieldwork analysis because the instructions are spread across 3 platforms and the deadline has become unclear. The learning problem and the organization problem aren't the same. Treating them as the same can lead us to reteach content when the student actually needs a timely prompt. The strongest effects appeared through the middle of the grade distribution, roughly between the 35th and 75th percentiles. I found that fascinating because it speaks directly to the middle 80%. Students who may not trigger formal intervention and may not independently seek enrichment, but who can benefit from a well-timed signal. 4 percentage points can look modest in a press release. Across a large course, it means a meaningful number of students crossing an important grade boundary. The result for women in microeconomics deserves attention, but also restraint. Women receiving the messages earned grades 7 points higher, were 11 percentage points more likely to earn a B or above, and were 6 points less likely to drop. Men showed no comparable effect. The researchers applied corrections for making multiple statistical comparisons, which strengthens parts of this result, but this is still one course at one university. We shouldn't leap from that to a universal claim about gender. We should ask what feature of the communication helped, for whom, and under what conditions. The evidence suggests that treated women completed more assignments and used supplemental instruction, meaning course-specific tutoring, more often. Perhaps regular progress information reduced uncertainty. Perhaps the text channel made help-seeking feel less socially costly. The study can't settle that mechanism. It gives us a promising question rather than a finished explanation. If you value evidence-led conversations about AI in education, follow the podcast for more practical analysis grounded in teaching, leadership, and policy. There's another finding that prevents this becoming a simple success story. The gains didn't spill over into students' other courses or into the following semester. The chatbot helps students follow specific advice in the focal course, but there's little evidence that it built transferable study habits. That's the tension. Support can improve performance while leaving capability unchanged. If a system continually reminds a student what to do, are we building self-regulation or temporarily providing it on the student's behalf? I don't think that makes the intervention a failure. Scaffolding is a legitimate educational strategy, but good scaffolding is eventually adjusted or removed. A stronger design might move from direct reminders towards reflection. You've missed 2 quizzes at similar points in the week. What pattern do you notice, and what plan will you make? The real value is not in what the machine produces, but in how the student responds. The implementation detail is equally important for leaders considering AI college courses. Georgia State University already had chatbot infrastructure, experienced staff, existing contracts, and an 86% opt-in rate for university text messages. The course knowledge base was developed through a pilot. Teaching assistants reviewed responses daily and humans handled uncertain or sensitive cases. After the pilot, monitoring reportedly fell below 2 hours per week, but the initial work was substantial. So this wasn't a chatbot dropped into a course on Friday afternoon. It was a design support system wrapped around established courses, reliable gradebook data, willing faculty, and human oversight. Mainstay supplied technology, but people created the conditions for it to work. The trials were pre-registered with the Registry of Efficacy and Effectiveness Studies, which gives the research additional credibility. Random assignment also allows stronger causal claims than a simple comparison of chatbot users and non-users. Still, the paper is an NBER working paper circulated for discussion, not a peer-reviewed publication. The data were proprietary and came from Georgia State University. There was no formal cost-effectiveness analysis, and survey responses were incomplete and uneven across student groups. Those limits don't erase the findings. They define how far we should carry them. For school and system leaders, I'd resist purchasing a chatbot because someone says it raises grades. Start with why, not how. Where are students losing momentum because information arrives too late? Support feels difficult to access, or staff can't personalize communication at scale. Audit that problem, test the tool in a bounded setting, and measure student outcomes and staff workload rather than message volume. This study's most useful lesson about chatbot student performance is surprisingly human. Technology helped when it noticed, prompted, and then connected students back to people and purposeful action. A chatbot should never become the relationship. It should make the relationship easier to reach. That's all for today. Thanks for listening.